Hello everyone, welcome to Fruit of the Wheel. I'm Dadika. Today I'd like to talk about these beautiful mutable squares that hold really valuable information for us right now. But they're a little strange and a little curious, so the messages are nuanced, layered, and a little topsy-turvy. But if we take the time to understand what we're being asked to do, how we're being asked to play with these energies, once we learn something, we can't unlearn it. And knowing how to navigate mutable energy well is a tremendous gift. A tremendous gift because mutable energy really is probably what most energy is. Most of energy is mutable, in transit, changing from one phase to the next. And when we are operating with that, since this is so natural, when we're operating from a comfortable relationship with mutable energy, everything becomes a lot more easeful, a lot more playful. And expansion becomes easier. Okay, so we have Sun and Mars in Sagittarius. It's been squaring Saturn in Pisces, and it's also squaring Black Moon Lilith in Virgo. Where we have Sagittarius, Gemini is always in play, but if you have personal placements or positions in Gemini, you're feeling these mutable themes even more strongly right now. So let's just start with what a square is. It's a point of questioning, just quickly. It's a point of questioning what we're up to and how we're going about it. When we reach the square, it's time to take a look at how we've been operating, why we've been operating the way we've been operating. Has it served? And sometimes it worked. Up until this point it worked. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. No matter what, from now, a new decision needs to be made to go in a different direction or to engage differently. And it's Saturn here in the square. So Saturn and squares are often described as obstacles, which I'm not very happy with as a definition, because neither Saturn nor a square is a block. They're not blocks. They are literally signposts saying this way, right? You're walking along and then it's like, oh, it's not further down the road, it's to the left. How's that an obstacle? Because you couldn't, that you're not meant to walk further to get to where you need to go. But it's all in perception. So if you can perceive of Saturn and squares in that manner, that this is a gift, letting me know, giving me some much needed instruction, because otherwise I wouldn't know, right? I'd just get lost and spend a lot of time, figuring out what next, where next. Then Saturn and the square is all of a sudden much more easily experienced, right? All energy is only experienced as difficult when energy isn't allowed to flow in its natural course. Every single aspect is natural, right? That's why they're there. It's just math. So if it can exist in the number, that's nature. So a square, an opposition, anything cannot be against us. It cannot be, right? And even the experience of it can be changed just by perceiving it like that. But okay. So we're at this point of checking in with the square, with what needs to be done. With the semi-square, we actually do the thing that needs to be done, the different move, the new move. So Sagittarius is our explorer, our adventure, where we break new ground and we instinctively need more space, more freedom to become more, to experience more, and to share what we learn, share those experiences, share those ideas that have come in through navigating new terrain. With Sun and Mars there's a lot of force, a lot of drive, a lot of desire, a lot of focus on this kind of expansion and this sort of new leap, right? Leaping into something new and the unknown. But as soon as the Sun and Mars stepped into Sagittarius, there was the square with Saturn immediately. And that's happened a couple of times this year when planets change signs. There's an immediate square, which says that we're learning to, I don't want to use the word right, but kind of get things right from the beginning itself. And that's a gift. That's a gift, right? Instead of like halfway down the road, right? But at the beginning, let's check and get, because when we do things after a square, what we're doing it with more maturity and more precision. Especially when Saturn's involved, right? But it's in Pisces. And this is why this transit, Saturn in Pisces, is so beautiful and so interesting, because what he's doing is making a sign that is very poorly understood by the human, this avatar mind, because it is the ineffable, it's the undefinable, it's vast, boundless, unconditional. What is that? I mean, it all sounds very nice, but most of us have not directly experienced what that even feels like. And with Saturn there, he gives form to this. He gives instruction, he gives guidance, he teaches, he trains, he puts us to practice in approaching Pisces and embodying and integrating Pisces in a way that is much more doable for us, much more palatable for the human mind, right? For the limitations of the human mind, because he forms a limit around the energy. And then we're able to interact with it in a way that feels more familiar. And yet, what is he doing? What's the purpose of all of that? Through that learning, through that integration of Pisces, we will ultimately lead ourselves individually and as a collective back into the vast, unconditional, boundless, limitless place of Pisces that isn't even a place. He's going to lead us straight back there. He gives us shape, he gives us instruction, and then he leads us back into the open waters of Pisces. Like, go immerse yourself in there, because that's what we all need. That's what we all need to become. That's where the real healing is. It's where the real creativity is. That's where the real life source is. That's where all the love is in every form. So that's this really beautiful thing that Saturn is doing for us. And when he's squaring the Sun and Mars in Sagittarius, our adventures, our exploration, our learning, our sharing, our teaching, our expansion is being questioned. What are you doing all of this for? How are you going about it? And have you actually grown from this? Has your soul grown from this? Has what you're creating grown from this? And even if it has, from now, at this point, something else is required. You've reached the end of the road in the way that you've been pursuing this learning, pursuing these experiences, pursuing this expansion. So I want you to check in with the purpose of all of this and change something up here, because now your Sagittarian energy, that force, that fire, that intuition, that instinct is required for something grander, greater, bigger. Something with a whole lot of love in it. And then we have Lilith and Virgo on the other side. And this again is very interesting, because Virgo is, rational, logical, methodical processes, recipes. This is a particular way and precision. And Lilith is the wild thing, sacred, beloved, wild nature, natural feminine power. In Virgo, again, curious, like Saturn in Pisces, Lilith in Virgo, curious and very interesting. Very interesting. So wherever Lilith goes is where initially, because as a collective we haven't quite learned how to be Lilith yet. So initially is reactionary. She reacts to anything that thwarts her, anything that restricts her, anything that makes her feel discarded, disrespected. She needs her autonomy and agency and freedom. And she recognizes where that's being disturbed through her body, through her sensuality. So Virgo is a left brain. It's ruled by Mercury, a left brain sign. So how does that work with Lilith? No matter what, Virgo is discerning intelligence, but Lilith will discern through the body. So this could be coming up right now. How does your body feel? Are there certain symptoms that are arising lately? That's Lilith kind of speaking to what needs to be taken care of and what hasn't been feeling right. Where she feels restricted by ideas of what the right way to do something is, the right thing to do is, any concepts of duty and obligation and giving up your own desire nature, in service or sacrifice. Or else not feeling like the way that what we have to offer to another, to improve. Virgo is optimization of patterns of energy, right? Optimization of energetic patterns. So whatever way we do that through our skills, through our natural and trained skills, maybe we're not feeling valued for what we have to offer. So these things might be coming up, and she's posing the question to Sagittarius as well, to Sun and Mars as well, where we have leapt into things, bounded about, explored and created ideologies, belief systems, philosophies. We've been sitting and pondering, and what is Sagittarius? It takes everything that Gemini's collected. It takes everything that Gemini's collected and makes sense of it from a broader perspective, right? From a higher perspective, the image takes form. It's not just about curiosity, but it's about giving it a meaning that can be followed. So our energy is directed in a way where it's being contributed to society based on these ideologies, these beliefs, these philosophies. But, all of this is something that's very avatar oriented. We imbue meaning, we create meaning, and then we live according to that. This is all mutable energy. If we don't question what ideas and philosophies and beliefs we've been following for some time, then, mutability has no purpose. It has to be changing. It has to be transforming. Something's got to end for the new beginning. So not staying stuck in a certain way of being, which is something Lilith and Virgo will make very clear through the way that our body feels, through any restriction that is felt, anything that feels forced, any any kind of activity that feels forced, any kind of applied effort that feels forced, any kind of relationship with anything or anyone that feels forced because of ideas that this is the right thing, like a judgment. Like Virgo can be very judgmental because Virgo discerns this is this and this is that, yes, no, light, dark, hot, cold. And those, the kind of definitions and labeling and judgment that has exhausted us, tired us, and our body can feel it. And where that Sagittarian belief system and dogma, something that we've been following for some time perhaps, has begun to feel weighted. There's this heaviness. We've got Saturn squaring this. Is providing us with enough discomfort, enough confusion, enough unease to seek clarity, to question our ideas and our ideologies, who and what we've been following, what we've been reading, what we've been watching, what we've been listening to. Because there's major information overload. Right? Everybody has something to say about about everything. And there's so many beautiful speakers and authors, writers, teachers, thinkers, wonderful. But we have to be discerning. Every once in a while, we need to check in and go, how has this served me? And maybe it served me for this long, but now I'm kind of done. I'm done with this and I need something else. I need to explore something else. And I need to explore something else because I am dedicated to something more than just what feels interesting and fun and even expanding. For me, I'm part of something bigger. I'm part of something bigger and I'm committed to that. Whether I realize this or not, I'm here for so much more than my individual journey. So there's this sacred calling with Lilith and Virgo and Saturn and Pisces, a sacred calling to our energy so that it's being focused, directed in a way to beautify and heal the collective as well as ourselves. And a square is the perfect thing to make sure that we get back on course in case we haven't been. And like I was saying, questioning everything that we've been learning or following, certain lifestyle practices, certain types of faith, like it could be for anything, this manifestation and visualization, dream, the imagination, all of these Piscean things, right? Which has been given a lot of power with Saturn, but also discernment is asked. He still asks for the reality check. And I mean, what is reality? We're each living our own individual reality, and then sometimes we agree on what reality is. But I would say with Lilith and Virgo, we could call natural law the true reality. Beyond all our concepts and ideas. Gemini, Sagittarius. Something, natural law that can be observed in nature, observed in our bodies. And through that connect to the message of Pisces. Which means that there's so much we don't know. The dogma of Sagittarius, like this is the way to do this, and this is the way to do that, and this is what's right, and this is what's reality, and this is what faith is, and this is what surrender is, and this is what whatever is. This is how you get to where you want to be. This is how you manifest. It's okay to take a break. I think, no, it's necessary now to take a break and just ponder on how much of everything that we've been learning or listening to and been practicing has really brought about results, because Saturn likes results and so does Virgo. They like results. They like tangible results. What can you see? And then don't judge it. Compassion. Pisces, unconditional compassion. Lilith will demand it, because Lilith makes it very clear to us where the pain of Virgo is. The pain of the Virgo-Pisces axis is very much linked to the judgment of how we're performing. A lot of shame and guilt can be involved in this axis. A lot of criticism towards the self and what we have to offer and the way we do things. Our ability to make dreams come true. And also just judgment of character. Like there's this ideal. Pisces, this ideal. It's like, oh, the spiritual person, a loving person, a compassionate person is like this and this and this and this. A lot of that kind of mental strain through Virgo. Gemini and Sagittarius are also mental, intellectual signs. So you've got 3 intellectual signs in this mutable axis, right? Gemini, Sagittarius, and Virgo, very intellectual. They think. And then you have Pisces, that is the valve for all of that overthinking that easily happens. And the speed at which these 3 signs operate. And Pisces is like that beautiful, okay, just surrender all that noise and all that need to figure it out and to problem solve and to jump into the next thing and just immerse in some nice, sweet, healing water for some time, because that's where everything comes from easily. You have easy access to everything that you're seeking. Sagittarius, Mars, like seeking. There's a lot of seeking through this, right? We're constantly seeking for like that one more piece of information, or that one more, belief, or one more method that would solve it all for us. Whereas Pisces, Saturn in Pisces is really pushing now for the type of surrender that frees us, which is true freedom. True freedom frees us from what we think we need to do and how we think we need to do it. So if we pay attention to the physical signs of our bodies, to our desire nature, Lilith is desire nature. She knows what is natural for us, and she'd really like for us to apply our energy, apply that dedicated effort, apply those methods and processes and practices led by genuine natural desire. Genuine natural desire. There is instinct that's being called upon now. How we can get out of our heads, get out of the noise of our minds, all this mental chatter, and give more power to our intuition and our instinct, our body and our feeling. Right? And find some stillness. Find some stillness so that the next moves are so in flow, are so playful, are so joyful, that we understand that's what mutability is about. It's about moving joyfully, moving easefully, moving playfully. Because you've surrendered the hows and whys. You've surrendered the dogma around why you're operating in a certain way or why you have the desires you have. You're surrendering the personality to something much more magical, much more creative, much more loving and healing, truly healing. Healing as in making whole. Using these mutable signs to really help accelerate our wholeness, becoming whole, that shaping. That Saturn and Lilith are trying to make very clear, initially through confusion. Confusion, maybe frustration, some mental exhaustion, some physical exhaustion, a lot of fluctuating moods, fluctuating feelings. Like one moment there's like elation and expansion, and the other there's disappointment and disillusionment, you know. A lot of things can be swirling around right now. The key is not to make a big deal. Like, what's beautiful about the mutable signs, they know not to make a big deal out of shit. They're just like, okay, fine. You feel this, you think this, everything passes. Let it go. We don't have time to sit and, you know, whine about this or cry about this, you know. And if you're going to cry, have a quick cry and let's move, right? Let's move. They want to move. They want us to move. Our thoughts and feelings are just passing energy. And if we can remember that and just allow all of the thoughts and feelings to pass through without judging. Do not do the Virgo judgment. Hold the Piscean compassion and allow everything to pass through. Then Gemini and Sagittarius, the Sun and Mars in Sagittarius, have the true freedom to explore actually unknown terrain with the courage to step out into the unknown without control, without knowing what's next. Because what's enough, what's sufficient, is understanding that you as an energetic entity, your avatar is here for a sacred purpose, a divine purpose. And you don't have to believe in sacred and divine as in religiously. It just means magical, powerful, loving creativity that is constantly dynamic, constantly abundant, constantly generous. And you're a part of that. You're a part of that magic. You're part of that abundance. You're part of that generosity. It's all around you, always accessible. Mutable makes things accessible. Why? Because it's porous, right? The energy is porous. And like the fixed signs, it's dense. In the mutable, it's porous. And when we're porous, when our energy fields are porous, they're open and we're more open to receiving. Mutable has to move in and out. And this time is really teaching us how to move, but there's this delicacy to the dance. There's a strange choreography because of what I mentioned. A planet like Saturn in Pisces, right? And then Lilith in Virgo, right? This square to the axis of yesness, right? Gemini Sagittarius is the axis of yes. I say yes. I say yes. And the squares are not a no. They're a pause so that we say yes to what really wants to come through. And what wants to come through is always beautiful. Surrendering to that beauty and conceptualizing ourselves as sanctuary. Saturn is also sanctuary, as a sanctuary of deep, limitless love and compassion and creative life force. And in that water, allowing whatever comes up to just sink into it, be cleansed and purified, because this is also very cleansing and detoxifying with the Pisces Virgo axis. So cleansing, a purification of the mind, of the body, of all these principles and beliefs and ideas that we've been accumulating. And through that purification, making new choices. And of everything, who you want to make feel very comfortable is Lilith. If you can make her feel good in whatever, wherever. So where Lilith, Saturn, the Sun and Mars are in our charts, that's where this is playing out. And Gemini too. That's where this is playing out. wherever Lilith is, she'll be there for a while. She'll be in Virgo for a while. Working with Virgo Pisces is really, really important because that axis holds so much corrupted energy. A lot of pain resides in that. So if you can make Lilith feel good by freeing her, by healing her, and listening to her, obeying her, respecting your physical nature, and understanding your whole being, mind, body, soul, spirit, as a holistic intelligence. As a holistic intelligence, the whole thing is your intelligent faculty, intellectual faculty. Then suddenly you are operating like magic. Why? Because you've got left brain and right brain intelligence. You've got intuition and logic working for you, right? You've got discernment and direction, and you've got surrender and flow state. This is pure magic. This is the mutable magic. And all the while, Gemini and Sagittarius are having fun with this, exploring and having an adventure. And all of this is happening within that sanctuary and being enveloped in the sanctuary of this loving, creative, powerful magic that is ever abundant, ever generous, ever healing, self-healing, self-regulatory. So we let go. The push is to let go, but there is instruction in how to do it. That's very helpful, but we do need to pay attention. We do need to bring it into the consciousness. So I hope I've done that with this video. I really do. So I'm going to stop there because I talked for longer than I intended. Let me know in the comments. And I'm running a Christmas sale for all my readings. They're at 50% discount. The link to the website and the readings are in the description below. Till next time. Mwah.